I work as a yoga therapist and an inner work coach, and I've been doing it for 15 years.
I've never done it this way, and it's really powerful.
So we live in a world where it's like we want these like big sensational spiritual breakthroughs, and those are great, but they oftentimes leave people in this like really raw, unintegrated spot. And then as you exhale, bend your knees differently. So maybe you bend a little bit, maybe you bend a little bit more. I want you to be really curious and playful.
I'm gonna cry. It's not painful. It feels really good.
I feel like I've outgrown a shirt and I'm like, but I need to stay in the shirt.
How does the shadow side respond to hearing that from your light joy side?
You're pretty spot on that they're like, and I hadn't thought about it, they're definitely like similar and tied together.
When we're little like that, it's hard for us to like say what we need to say, and so these feelings get trapped in our body and our nervous system.
The most common form of yoga now is glorified exercise, and that's fine, like, whatever floats your boat, but like, ooh, are you missing out?
Welcome to Coaching Kaleidoscope, where you get an inside look to coaching like no other. In this series, you will witness rapid fire 20-minute coaching sessions covering a kaleidoscope of topics. Join me, Samantha Clark, a passionate, transformational, and intuitive coach, for a front row seat to my one-on-one sessions with some of the most incredible coaches out there. Then the tables turn as roles reverse and my guest coach takes the lead, guiding me through a powerful experience. Time may be short as we're put to the test, but the raw, unscripted, inside look at the expertise and vulnerable side of heart-centered coaching promises to be transformational. Okay. Hi, Keri. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing really well today. It's been a nice, chill morning so far, and I'm just enjoying that kind of cadence of slow.
Oh, that's beautiful. I know rainy days, we were talking before and you were saying you're having a rainy day there.
Yes, and that feels like such an invitation, just like from a body and nervous system perspective, like slow down, notice, let's do everything at a slightly slower pace.
I love that. Yeah,
Is it?
just connecting with what your environment's doing, being a part of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I have 5 kids, and so getting everybody ready for school and off to doing what they're doing, just handling that, and yeah, just making lunches and stuff. And I've been enjoying that lately.
Yeah, in the fullness of the motherhood. Gosh, I love it. Same
Yes. How many
here.
kids do you have?
I have three.
Oh my gosh. How old
Yeah.
are they?
8, 5, and 1.
My gosh, you have a 1-year-old. I didn't realize.
Yes, I'm nursing. I have just like that sweet, he's starting to toddle around though. So it's like the beautiful transition of him being less on me all the time and exploring the world is such like a cute spot in our journey.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, please tell us about yourself and welcome to Coaching Kaleidoscope. And I'm so glad you're here. And please share your zone of genius.
Yeah. So I work as a yoga therapist and an inner work coach, and I've been doing it for 15 years. And my main area that I help people with is ultimately helping them have a better relationship with themselves at the core. Like that's like what we're always circling around. And I do that by helping people get unstuck from limiting beliefs and trauma and like areas where they're lacking skills through a body, mind, and spirit approach. So I'll bring them home to their bodies and we'll work on doing the connection and healing work that's going to really change the way they feel in their body. I bring people into their minds. We build skills around emotions and communication, and I hold space for people as they just like go into their shadow self, which is like those parts of us that we want to hide, but also like where the fiercest medicine is, because we can accept and we can love and we can come to this like better place of seeing ourselves and our desires and moving more clearly into what we want. And then I work with spirituality. So I really, really believe that there's such opportunity that's missing when we're not connected to our own spirituality. And a lot of modern yoga, a lot of like the modern way of looking at life is really disconnected from that spirituality. that I find gives people a lot of hope and purpose and meaning and relief, because I'm sure you've heard the statement, I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. We don't have to. There's actually this huge, beautiful God, goddess, source, energy, universe, whatever the heck you want to call it, that is carrying the weight of the world for us. And so the work that I do really just like brings people back to that wholeness so that they can enjoy their lives more and they can enjoy themselves more.
That resonates so much, especially with like different experiences I've had going in too intense, and my body is like, no, what did you do? I'm angry now. My gosh, like yes to all of it. As you're talking, I'm just like thinking about so many different areas of my life that would be enriched by your practice. So I'm so excited that you're here today and that we get to dive into this. And I love that you have like this whole well-rounded perspective around your work that you do, because I mean, for 15 years, that's incredible. I mean, you've had so much experience with what people are experiencing in their body and their lives, and like spirituality and how it all connects. And gosh, that's such a gift that you give your clients.
Thank you. It's such a gift to receive. I just love doing this work and building relationships with people. It's the best.
I love that so much. All right. Well, are you ready to get started?
Let's do this thing. I'm
Okay,
ready.
cool. Okay, so I have my Lady Liberty coin, and I'm gonna flip it and you call it, and if you're right, then you coach first.
Okay, I'm going to call tails.
Tails? Okay. Oh, it's tails.
All right, we're getting in there. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so you had mentioned that I'm gonna need some space to like move my body, and so I have that. Should I get that space ready now, or should we talk a little bit first?
Let's drop in a little bit first and then see where your inner knowing is going to lead us today, because I do want to remind you that you're the boss here. And we're going to explore whatever's ready to be looked at together and whatever you feel most is heart aligned.
I
So,
love that. I was busy this morning, like I said, with the kids, and so I didn't get a chance to ground myself, and I feel like all over the place. So I'm excited that we're gonna drop in.
okay, well, let's pause before we start and do that. Go ahead and bring your hands together and just gently rub your hands together, eyes open or closed, whatever feels best. And then once you feel like that real sensation in your hands, like there are my hands and they are rubbing together and I can feel the warmth building, we're going to take your hands and then weave fingers together and just let them sit on the crown of your head. You've got your bottom resting down, you've got your spine reaching tall, and the gentle downward pressure of your hands on your head. Let's take a moment here. If you want to close your eyes, go for it. If not, whatever's best. And see if you can feel a heightened connection to your body in any way at all. There's no right or wrong way. It might be like a sensation. It might be a visual, like you're visualizing your body. It might be your imagination. It might be some other way of tapping in. Perhaps your breath becomes a part of your awareness here. And if so, letting your breath be really soft and really slow, no force, no strain. Go ahead and switch the inner weave of your fingers and let your hands sit up on top of your head again. And then let's weave in some of the other layers of you. You've had this whole morning of being of service to your children, your family, and your home. You're here with me now. You have a body, you have a mind, you have a spirit. You are your spirit. Take about 2 more rounds of breath here. And allow your hands to settle down. If you want to stretch it all or wiggle it all, go for it. Sometimes our body prompts us like, oh, wait, I need this thing next. I want you to just kind of let that play out.
Mm.
And then I'm curious, as you've been kind of sitting with knowing that this was coming up this morning, or even just in the here and now, if there's anything in particular that is emerging for you, like, oh, this is a place where there's something to be curious about or to explore or to hold with Keri's support. Anything that you're like, even if it's a couple of ideas.
Yeah. Well, a lot of ideas have been bouncing around. I do a lot of thinking. And before we got started, I thought I would ask you about my business. And then as you were talking and sharing about like all of the things and areas that you help people with, I had all these ideas. But right now, that practice of dropping into my body, it really became, I should have grabbed some water, I forgot. It really became apparent that I can really connect with the top part of my body. I want to have that same experience with the bottom part of my body, like my hips and my legs. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that's where a lot of my pain comes from. And I think that I feel like there's like a disconnect between the top, like the bottom part of my body.
Yeah, absolutely. And does it start like in your hips and go down? Does it start like at belly button level and go down? Where is that
That's a great
disconnect
question. Let me see here.
or that lessening of connection?
Definitely feel the sensations in my crown, in my hands, my arms, my shoulders, my chest. And it starts to go numb right below my belly button. I had a C-section with my twins. They're two
Mhm.
now. But before that, I've had like these like a disconnect between my legs or with my hips and legs from the top part of my body. And
Yeah.
I'm sure the C-section has been a part of that too.
Mm. And what is the sensation like? You described it as a numbness.
Mhm. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to this. This is so, I love this practice right here of dropping into my body. I've never done it this way, and it's really powerful.
Yeah.
It's really vulnerable, and like I wanna hide from it. I do. I like, I'm
Mm.
like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. Um,
Yeah. Is that's enough instinct or intuition, would you say? So instinct meaning like it's the way that I'm wired to respond because it's a tender, vulnerable place, or is it intuition saying like, let's not go too far just yet? Like let's just kind of be more gentle about the way that we approach this.
it's more of an instinct, like a fight or flight type of
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as we're talking about it right now, do you know much about your nervous system? You mentioned fight or flight. So I'm curious as we're starting to talk about it, if you're getting any of that sort of fight or flight symptomology, if you're noticing any of that starting to play out as we tune into this part of your body.
I love these questions. They're so good.
So some evidence of a fight or flight sort of quality in your body would be obviously things like feeling the desire to move away from a sensation, feeling like an anxious or a frustrated or an angry sort of energy, um, feeling your
Good.
heart start to beat.
It's like a quickening.
Mm-hmm. When I hear you saying that, I don't hear you saying that it's like overwhelming. Is that right?
Um, it's just like how do I explain this? It's like like it's a mechanism to like a protection mechanism.
Yeah.
And like when I go into it, it's like whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, it's like a quickening, and I can feel the quickening come all the way up into my throat. And so it's not
Mm,
like on the surface, it's not a comfortable feeling. It's definitely like trying to ward me off.
yeah. Okay.
This is so fascinating to look into my body like this. This is fun.
Mhm. So my next question is for you is that the language of our body is very different from the language of our mind. And so I want to ask your body if it wants a nonverbal approach for the next little bit, like if it just wants you to drop into that and explore that and hold space for that and love on that and move that and let whatever it's holding on to process out. Or if it's like, actually, I really want to do some of the mental part. I want to talk about it. I want to explore the emotional aspect. I want to like be seen and heard and listened to. What do you feel more of a pull towards? Because both are good, both are useful. I really want you to luxuriate in your time to choose. You don't need to rush at all.
There's definitely like a curiosity, like my mind is curious, and then dropping into my body, it's like it's like giving permission to be curious about it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's more open to exploring. I'm not getting that same quickening.
Yeah. Based on what you just shared there, I'm going to offer something up and then I just want you to feel if it resonates or not. So I call these access points, and it's basically what's the easiest way for us to access the material inside that wants to be worked with, like in the gentlest form. And when you were sharing that your mind feels curious and your body feels a little curious, it makes me wonder if we want to take a top-down approach, if we want to go into mind and then into body, as opposed to bottom up, body into mind. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I've been doing more practices with my body, like dropping in and experiencing what my body has to say. And it's interesting because when I'm like walking around and stuff, I'm in so much pain all the time, right? And when I drop into my body, it actually feels so good in my body. Like I feel amazing, you know what I mean? And so yeah, there's definitely I think the mental part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So which route feels better?
Uh,
Mind to body, body to mind.
Good question. So is it more about what feels good and comfortable, or what going towards the uncomfortable?
So my intuition tells me that whatever's here
Hmm.
is not small. And so I would encourage a gentle, steady approach. So I would do what feels easiest personally, because that's going to communicate safety to your body, nervous system, and brain. And that's where the real, like, juicy nectar of healing and evolution happens. We live in a world where it's like we want these like big, sensational spiritual breakthroughs, and those are great, but they oftentimes leave people in this like really raw, unintegrated spot versus like the steady, gentle beat of our effort and presence in a way that really lands softly often makes much more of a difference in our body. Like it lets us gradually unravel and untangle the knots and make the space that's going to really hold long term. Does that?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that resonates so much, especially with like different experiences I've had going in too intense, and my body is like, no, what did you do? I'm angry now.
Yeah, there's your evidence, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Body's like, not that way. We'll be gentle either way. It's just, do you want to talk about it a little first? Or do you want to go straight into like, let's just not even do that. Let's just let my body do its thing.
Okay. I keep going back to this because I really tap into it this way.
I'm so glad that that feels useful and that you're just instinctively just going for it over and over. It's good.
I want to hear what my body has to say. My mind is so curious and open to listening to my body, and my body um, it feels like seen, and yeah, it wants to go first.
All right. Well, in that case, let's do get your space ready
Okay.
to body work. So, what route Standing, on hands and knees, laying down. What feels most comfortable?
I want to stand. I want to stand.
Let's do that.
Very
Okay.
grounding.
Yes, there is some real power to just having our feet firmly planted. When you're ready, go ahead and relax your arms alongside you. I'm going to be giving you some really focused things to do, but I want you to follow your body's lead in terms of if you adjust them, if you go off the rails, if you're like, but wait, my body wants to do this over here. The things that I'm offering are just suggestions, but anytime we're doing body-based healing, we want to keep affirming the body's pathway to do that. And this isn't like a command performance of Keri said, do this. So that's what's best. Your body is actually the champion here of your healing. So we want to just keep giving it permission to go somewhere, even if it takes you somewhere, Samantha, that you're like, I don't understand why my body wants me to do that. I say just let it go down the channel that it wants to go. Does that feel good to you?
Feels really good. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to begin with our arms alongside us and gently release your shoulders down and back. And this next thing, I'm going to come a little closer so you can see it better. So we're going to go from here to here, where you have one hand stacked on top of the other. I call this the energy scoop. So you know about the energy pathways in your body. Is that right?
Yes.
Like that you have a energy channel right in the middle of you. We call it the sushumna in the yogic practice. So as you inhale, you're going to scoop up that energy channel and reach your hands overhead. And then as you exhale, soft and slow, open your arms and relax them down to the sides of you. And then reposition your hands in front of your pelvis with the opposite hand now on top. And as you inhale, you're slowly moving up that channel, reaching your hands up and creating this big stretch. And then exhale, relax your arms down to the side. And we'll get into a flow of that with your breath and body, each time putting the opposite hand on top, inhaling and rising up. And exhaling and opening out. Once you get familiar with that pattern of movement, maybe you set an intention to go with it. Maybe you don't. But if you feel like this resonates, you might have the intention be that you're merging, right, this lower body energy with the upper body. You're bringing it all together. We'll do 3 more rounds with your breath. This is a practice to connect this holistic energy that lives inside of your body. Keep your pace slow. Then let your arms simply relax alongside you and bring your feet really close to each other. You'll want to leave just a little bit of space in between your ankles. It doesn't feel very good when our ankles collide. So feet are close, inner legs are close, but a little space between ankles. Then, depending upon what feels good to you, you can have your arms alongside you. You could also have your hands on your hips. If you wanted something that was a little more opening to your chest, you could bring your hands around behind you. It would look like this. You'd be clasping your hands behind your back. And then I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see me a little bit better. Inhale, standing up long and tall. And then as you exhale, bend your knees any amount. Could be just like the teeniest little bend. And then inhale, come back up. And then as you exhale, bend your knees differently. So maybe you bend a little bit, maybe you bend a little bit more. I want you to be really curious and playful. You're inhaling up to a straightened out position with your body. And then you're exhaling and you're bending down into a variation of Utkatasana, the chair pose. And you're in this rhythm where your breath sets the pace and the movement ranges quite a lot. A little, a middle amount, a lot of bending. Play with it all. In terms of where your mind is right now, direct your mind back into your body as long as that feels like the best choice for you. Some areas that you may or may not want to focus on would be the feeling of your feet grounding down, the sturdy roots of your body. Perhaps the pathway that moves from your feet to your knees, to your hips, to your pelvis, your bottom, your glutes, the muscles in your pelvis, your belly, your lower side waist, your low back, the womb, any of those spaces, all of those spaces, whatever feels right. Let's do one more round with your breath. How's this feeling to you?
I, I like the variation, and I like bringing my awareness to different parts of my body and being curious about it. That is really interesting, and I definitely feel it affecting my breathing. It's hard to like take a deep breath, and I'm feeling some burning in some areas.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you have a lot of awareness of your body and you're feeling it sort of guide you into these different places. Does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good to bring awareness to different parts.
Let's take your feet more of a hip width apart stance and then stand up nice and tall. I'm going to turn again so you can see me better now. As you inhale, you'll take your arms out into a T, and this is this really wide stretch with your hands. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring left hand down to left leg. Right arm is going to stretch up and over, and you don't have to go very deep. You're just going to follow the lead of your body. Like, what feels interesting right now? Then inhale, come up, take your arms out into a T. And then as you exhale, gently bend and stretch the other way. And we'll do 2 more rounds of this. Inhale, spine lengthens, arms and hands stretch wide. Exhale, you're bending to the side. I don't know if you've ever heard that like funny children's song, the hip bones connected to the thigh bone, that whole thing. So I just kind of want to bring that playful perspective, like, as I'm moving through my side body, I'm actually working that whole chain down my body to my feet and bringing it back to that place of awareness. It's actually impacting me on so many different parts of my body. Once you've completed that round, let your arms come down. And then you'll want to turn so that you have the length of your yoga mat running front to back. Take your left foot forward, then put your right foot a little further back, ideally in a position where you can ground your right heel. Your right toes are turned out a bit, right heel is angled in. And then you're going to orient your hips and your heart center forward towards the front of your mat. Go ahead and bend your left knee. And then depending upon what feels best to you, you might put your hands on your belly and you might even rub. And I know sometimes touching our body feels a little too confrontational. So if you're like, that's not the right way for me, don't do that. Another way that you could go would be to take your arms out to the side of you. You could take your arms up overhead. There's a lot of different places to play here in this shape. It's going to sound so obvious when I say it, but touching our body is a really powerful way to bring a mind-body connection in. So you can even move down your legs some,
It's so interesting when I put my hands here, I want to cry.
Mm,
And the other parts, no, but like right here,
but right
it's
here. So
immediately.
what would it feel like to just give that a little bit of time?
Yeah.
Just to wait right there. And not to try to force anything to be unearthed, but more just to hold it with love and with presence.
Ooh.
When you're ready, let's go ahead and switch legs. So you'll have your right foot forward now, your left foot back, hips, heart center oriented forward, bend in your right knee, and then different or same approach with your hands, whatever feels right to you.
Oh, it's a different sensation with the other leg
Mm,
forward.
interesting.
Different
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Hmm. What feels different about this leg being forward and how it lands in your body?
Mm. This way feels more vulnerable. Yeah, definitely how can I describe vulnerable? Like it's kind of, that's where the guard comes up. It's like, what are you doing? Am I sure
Hmm.
I'm okay with this type feeling?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, it was just immediate, like I want to cry, emotion, like
Hmm.
I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if it was sadness or just like, um, yeah, just intense emotion. I have to
Yeah.
go back and to connect with the sensation.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you share that with me, I hear that there's things to process and also a desire to protect.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel right?
Yes.
Hmm. So let's come now to a position where your feet are either hip width apart or close together. Either one, both are great. As you inhale, take your arms out to the side and up high overhead. As you exhale, join your palms, bend your knees into that chair shape from earlier. Then you're going to fold forward, lowering your fingertips to the floor or even to your shins. Let your head bow. As you inhale, lengthen straight ahead through the crown of your head. So spine grows long. Exhale, relax into it. And then push through your feet like you wanted to push the floor away from you and see if you can feel that body-mind connection from feet all the way up through your legs to your pelvis, that sturdy connection. And then inhale, come all the way up with your feet, with your legs supporting you. Take your arms overhead. Exhale your hands together at your heart. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale your arms out to the side, up high overhead. And then as you exhale, bend down into chair pose, fold forward and down, lower your hands. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine. Exhale, draw in, fold in. Push your feet down like you mean it. Wake up the legs, wake up that energy pathway right through the middle of you. Inhale, come all the way up with those energized and supportive muscles in your legs. Exhale your hands together at your heart. One more time, just like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend your knees, fold forward and down. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, fold in, tuck your chin. Wake up your legs, press through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. It's almost like your legs are squeezing in towards your bones. They're hugging in to support you. And you're inhaling and coming all the way up to stand. And then exhale your hands together in front of your heart. All right, we'll do one more standing movement and then we'll shift to a different thing together. You're going to place your hands on your hips. I'm turning to the side just so you can see. We'll bring feet really close together. Gentle bend in your knees. And then you're going to try to circle your hips around. Can you see this well enough? Or yeah. So you've got your knees bent, and you're circling your hips around. And there's this quality of your legs wrapping towards each other. Go ahead and play with the other way. And maybe not, bringing more attention into the connection between your pelvis and your belly. Pelvis and belly, all the sensations there. Come back to stillness. If it works to place your hands on your belly, go for it. If it suits you to close your eyes, let's do that. And let's just pause for 3 breaths. And when you're ready, letting your eyes opened, and we'll sit together and we'll process a little bit of that experience, if that sounds good to you.
Oh, wow. Yes.
To know either what that felt like to you, just like chronicling the experience of that, or what that stirred in you, or any clarity that came, either pointing you to some more like working around this, holding this, working on this in the future.
Yeah, it just felt really needed. And I was able to connect to my body in a way that I haven't been able to. It just brought new awareness, and um, it feels really good in my lower back. I feel I can feel the energy of my lower body.
Mm.
It's not I'm gonna cry. It's not painful. It feels like, when you work out and you have like strong muscles and there's some burning, but then like you can feel all of the cells like just scrambling around, enjoying it, and like alive. It feels really
Mm.
good. So thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I'm so glad, and how powerful to feel that like stirring and that aliveness and that strength, and all of those are such important pieces for you to feel those foundations, because the like emotional parts that are wanting to be moved through at some point, they will be so much better received because of that level of connection with your body. Does that land with
Yeah.
you?
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Everything goes through the body. The body like holds everything. And so it makes so much sense to bring it in. And gosh, I really enjoy that practice. Your
Hmm.
work is so powerful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for diving in with me. I love it.
Yeah, I just have so much gratitude that you walked me through that and I got to experience that. It's just it, it really created this like awakening and expansion in me, and connecting with my
Mm.
body that way.
Yeah, powerful.
So thank you. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Well, it's your turn to be coached. Are you ready?
I am. Yeah, I need to take off my being of service hat and into my receiving.
Yes, it's so important that we're like a clean, clear vessel when we work with other people. Like that's something like a skill you have to have as a coach to like, leave that out the door to come in and hold space.
Absolutely. Just be a conduit for someone else.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so tell me what's going on with you, and what you're experiencing and what's coming up for you today.
Yeah. So it's funny, like sometimes when you go into a coaching situation, you're like, this is what I want to work on. But then other things come up along the way. And so I think that there are 2 things. And so I'll share both so we can like feel out which one feels like the best route to go. And one is that I'm in this transitional place when it comes to my husband because he had a stroke. He's very young and healthy, and he had a freak accident that caused a stroke. And truthfully, I feel like it's been this tremendous catalyst for growth. He's had a very rapid and miraculous recovery, which is amazing. But we've been in this like healing cocoon where we're just like in our little bubble and home together and so much family time. And he has a big brain scan on Friday. And, barring that goes well, which we have every reason to believe, he's going to start emerging back out into the world. And we've started to emerge back into the world. And it feels almost painful to see the way that people view us differently now. And just kind of also knowing that like we're going to be coming out of the cocoon stage and back out into like normal day-to-day life stage, which feels a little bit tender for me. And then the other piece is I feel like integration, because I know that I know the work that I do, I know the power that it holds, I know the people that it's for, but I have been doing it in a way that's not, it doesn't work anymore. It's like time for me to grow out of that, like in terms of like expanding it, charging more money, moving into more of an integrative place. And I feel like I have some scarcity pieces that are there. I feel like I have some just like ideas about other people and what they're going to say yes or no to. And none of it's rooted in truth. It's all just like my own, like, oh, it kind of like hurts to expand in that way. It feels very vulnerable.
Yeah. So as you're talking, I feel like the two are absolutely connected. And it's like that rebirth, right? Like you experience something catastrophic, something that's life changing, that like spiritual 2x4. And then you go into like this whole pattern, this whole thing, this experience, and like coming out of it as this new person with these new experiences is scary for sure. So, when you were talking about like coming out of this cocoon and like showing up, um, to people that like you love, that knew you as who you were before, that's really scary. It's hard, like how they judge you or how they talk to you or they treat you, all of those things. And then I feel like that's the same thing in your business too, because like through this experience, it's like that spiritual 2x4, like you were forced now to look at how you're showing up in your business and it doesn't make sense for you anymore, just like in your life, what you were doing. And so now like things have to change. And again, your clients, the people you care about, how you show up, that's vulnerable. So I just wanted to say that I hear you and I see the connection there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about that and because you shared your whole story there, what I picked up on and what you're experiencing, I want to talk about that. Like out of all of that, what feels like the most intense for you? Like what are you grappling with? Is it
Mm.
do you feel like it's more with your family life or do you feel like it's more with your business? Let's start there.
Hmm. I feel that you're pretty spot on that they're like, and I hadn't thought about it, they're definitely like similar and tied together. And it's funny as we're talking about it, I can feel my jaw. It's like it's starting to tighten up, which is a good sign about it. And I think that truthfully, a lot of it that feels really sticky for me right now is about the communication aspect. So as we're going back out into the world, I think that when people hear stroke, they have like preconceived notions about how it's going to
Mhm.
impact that person and their family, and then there's the reality of how it has impacted my family. And so I feel like I'm having to like explain myself or you know bring people up to speed, and on some levels I don't even want to do that. It's just like I just want to be a person who's living their life, because if I walked up to you on the street I wouldn't be like, explain yourself to me. But when somebody has this catastrophic thing, especially like this kind, people want you to explain it to them. And so that feels tricky. And then with my business, I feel like I am going through this like metamorphosis of like a butterfly becoming this like bigger, like more evolved version that truthfully I know is going to like serve my people so much better and like serve me and my family so much better. And it's like, it's time and I feel called to do this, but it also feels like I need to explain it to everybody. And I think that I'm getting just like, do you know how like when you see a child outgrow a shirt, you're like, you outgrew that shirt, babe. It's time for a bigger shirt. And you don't think a whole lot about it. I feel like I've outgrown a shirt and I'm like, but I need to stay in the shirt.
Yes, that's such a beautiful analogy. I love how you explain that. Absolutely. Okay, so around this communication, so I feel I just learned this new technique, and I wanna walk you through it. It feels vulnerable for me to walk you through this because it's so new, but it feels so strongly that this is what you need. So I want you to close your eyes. You're going to tap into your body, and I want you to think about this communication, um and do you feel that like the communication with your business or with your family is where we should start, or
Hmm.
like showing up, with that
In
aspect?
which side? Yeah.
I mean, because it's gonna circle back around, but what feels right in this moment?
Hmm. I think that what feels cleaner, like less messy in this moment is the business side.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's focus on that because it's not, it feels like the personal side, there's like all these little tangled up bits that
Okay. Okay.
you could get
Beautiful.
trapped in.
Okay, so in your business, closing your eyes and asking your body, like, if you were to just like rip the Band-Aid off, this is what it is. I've outgrown this. This is what I'm doing now. No explanation. What do you notice in your body?
I feel joy in my body. Like I feel like smiling. I feel like there's spaciousness.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful. And what does this part of your body want to say?
Let go.
Let go. Okay, and so for a moment, just kind of notice in your body where there's a shadow side to this, where like the resistance, where I feel like I need to explain myself, I need to stay small, and all of that. Just notice where you're seeing that.
Hmm. I feel these tension patterns emerge around my eyes and like around this part of my face, but it also feels like it kind of wraps to the back of my head and then down and into the front of my throat. And then it's like in my shoulders. But it almost feels like this it doesn't feel like they're separate spots. It feels like this like place where it's all kind of moving.
Okay, so there's a lot of movement with it.
Like they're all connected. Maybe
Okay.
movement isn't the right word, but more just like these things are all tied together rather than like, oh,
Tangled.
this area and that area. It's like this is all like a chain.
Is there like a color associated with all this?
What comes to mind is like, do you know on a shower curtain when it gets mildew and it
Yeah.
starts to look really dingy? So I guess like a grayish, kind of like spotty, dingy.
And if you were to allow this sensation, this color to fully integrate into your body, like um it's like its own being, just allowing it to be fully present and take over in your body so we can have a chat.
Hmm. It feels scary to do that.
Don't worry, we're gonna work through it, and I'm right here with you. Mhm. What is this being, this character, what do they want to say?
I'm not sure I understand that one.
So
Can you
you know
see
how
that?
you're giving like the joy that you were feeling, it had something to say and it wanted
Hmm.
it, to let go of resistance. But what is this side of yourself, this shadow side saying?
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. And then if we could bring back in that joy that you were feeling, fully integrated into your body. So the shadow is going to step to the side and you're going to fully allow yourself to feel this light side.
Would you help me bring in the light again?
Yeah, absolutely. So just noticing in your body. So you feel, are you still feeling the shadow side in your body?
It's almost like I'm lost in the space between, and I'm like, I know that light is there, but I like want to like I want help like bringing it up and out and letting
Yeah.
it take up space again.
So I'm noticing it more on one side or the other. So if you were to say that the shadow side was more predominant on the left or the right side of your body, what would you say?
Hmm. I feel that the shadow side is more the right side, and the joyful part is more the left side.
Yeah. So just bring your awareness to your left side of your body and um look for that joy as far as like a light, or I'm getting like sunshine colors.
Hmm.
Does that make sense for you?
It does. It feels very warm.
Can you bring that through your aura back into like starting from the farthest end of the left side of your body and just allowing it to integrate, moving over just like the sun would do as it's rising and keeps moving into the darkness or into that shadow and fully taking up all of your space. This is as if you were playing a different character in a movie. Like you had that other character, now you're bringing in this joyful sunshine like character.
Hmm.
Mhm. Do you feel like that's fully present and like in the forefront of what you're experiencing?
Feel like it's making its way through, and there's still like a couple of distant regions of my body that it's like I'm still bringing
Yeah,
that light.
that is definitely
Yeah.
okay. We just want we want the light side to be present for you to communicate with, because we're going to
Hmm.
have them communicate with each other.
Okay.
Sorry, my son's knocking on the door. Okay. So now what does the light side want to say to the shadow side?
Initially came to mind is trust. And then sort of like the underneath message of that is I'm here.
I'm here. Beautiful. Is this coming from your mind or from your body, what you're experiencing in your body?
My body. It's almost like my body just wants the shadow to know that it's being held by the light. Like it's
Mm.
being supported. It's being hugged and held in that.
Okay. So now let the light side take over just the left side of your body so that way that shadow can come in so you're kind of split in half. And
Okay.
then bring your awareness to the shadow side. And how does the shadow, so they're going to communicate back and forth. So how does the shadow side respond to hearing that from your light joy side?
Feels smaller.
Smaller in a good way
Like it's taking up less space. Like it's not as it doesn't hold as much charge.
okay, beautiful. And does it want to say anything to the light side?
Wants to know that everything's going to be okay.
Okay. And how does the light respond to that?
With giggles.
Giggles. Beautiful.
Not like mocking giggles, but just like knowing giggles.
Yeah. And the shadow, how does that side of you respond?
It feels silly.
Silly.
Yeah, like just like,
Like,
oh, like playful. Yeah, like okay, I'm gonna match that energy. Like
okay. And so is there any other communication that needs to happen? Like how are you feeling with these two like integrating together?
they feel like they're talking to each other. And then I think where I feel that where I'm getting stuck is like just making the move. Like I've made the decisions, but I haven't made the move yet.
Yeah. So now in the move, what feels uncomfortable or stressful or what feels like there's a resistance with the move?
Communicating the change to my clients, particularly like I'm raising my prices.
Yeah,
It's
where do you
pretty
feel that in
dramatic.
your body? Like,
Mm.
like you're communicating this information over to your clients, telling them that you're raising your prices and, like there's a concern about how they're going to respond to this, or there's a concern about what this is going to do to their bank account. Like, how can they afford this, or what are they going to think about you? Like, what is it that seems to be the most concerning for you?
think I feel worried that they won't want to grow with me. And I love my clients. Many of them have been with me for like 5, 6 years. And so I want to keep growing with them. And there's a worry that when I make this change, that it will hurt that.
Yeah. Where are you feeling that in your body?
I feel it's like a downward pressure around my collarbones. And it's funny, it's not like down into my heart space. It's almost just like somebody put a sandbag on my collarbones. It's like pushing it down.
And on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most intense sensation you've ever felt and 0 being no sensation, where's that sensation?
Feels like a 3. It's something that I can still like, I don't feel like I'm going to collapse under it. I feel like I can very much like rise to meet it
Hmm.
and
I want
relax
you
to it.
to really focus in on that area and allow it to get bigger. Like allow the intensity of it to get as big as it wants. So bringing your awareness to it and like being the eye of the storm, just allowing it to completely consume you and just take up all this space and breathing into it. Can you feel the level of intensity rising there?
I can, yeah. There's like a gripping. I have this image of like when somebody prepares their house for a hurricane, they like, you know, board up the windows, they lock everything down.
Yeah.
Feels like that.
Um, it's really interesting that you said that. So, when you're picturing that, can you sense yourself in that situation?
You mean talking with my people about it?
No,
Like
I'm sorry.
saying,
In the hurricane and boarding everything up, can you feel like your presence in that space or
I still feel present. Yeah. And it all like there's just this like tension. It's like a gripping, like everything needs to be like tightened.
Okay. So, are you willing to see where this came from?
Yeah.
Okay. So, asking this sensation right here in your body, what is the first memory or experience you have of feeling this sensation? So, this won't come from your mind, it'll come from asking this sensation here. Just the first thing that comes to you. It can be super random. May seem like you're making it up or your imagination, whatever it is, just go with it.
What's coming to mind right now is being a little girl and hearing my parents ended up divorcing, but before they divorced, they had these really, really dramatic fights, and they would send me out into the yard. And so I could hear the fight inside the house, and so I can see myself in my yard
Yeah.
feeling that feeling.
How old are you?
I don't know exactly. I'm thinking seven-ish,
7? Yeah.
7, 8, somewhere in that range.
And from this experience, what comes to mind here back in this time when you were 7, what seems to be the most stressful there?
I didn't know who was good and who was bad and what I could trust.
Yeah. And so this 7-year-old, when we're little like that, it's hard for us to like say what we need to say. And so these feelings get trapped in our body, in our nervous system. And so I want you to put like all the politeness and that like um telling yourself that it's okay or like making sense of it all. I want you to put all of that aside and be super honest with yourself. This 7-year-old, like, what did she need to say? Did she need to say something to herself, to her parents, to God?
Feel like what she needed to hear was that both of them were good. I didn't need to guard myself because they could fight and be like rude and mean with each other, but it didn't change who they were for me, which it didn't change who they were for me.
Oh, absolutely. Like that definitely makes sense. As a 7-year-old going through this experience, feeling alone and feeling like confused and not knowing what's going on, what did she need to say?
Say to my parents, say to God, say to the universe.
Yeah, or to yourself, like something like why is this happening to me, or why are you fighting, or I don't understand, or
Mm-hmm.
like I'm
I feel like,
scared. What did she
yeah,
need to say?
this is too much. This is more than I can handle. I need you to stop. I
Yeah.
need to feel safe.
And out of all of those phrases, what has like the most emotional charge behind it?
It feels twofold. It feels like this is too much, and I need you to see that I need your help. Like I don't feel okay.
Yeah. That's really big right there. Like you they're not taking into account how it's affecting you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's hard, right? Like as parents, we know now what that's like. But as the 7-year-old, it's just so important that you give her a voice for what she needed to say then, because your body remembers.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's asking you to say that thing now. The thing that has like the strongest emotional charge.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said a few different things there. What feels the strongest?
I need your help.
I need your help. Okay. I want you to say that phrase to yourself 3 times, and you're going to do it as slow as possible, breathing in and out 3 times, like the slowest breaths, like you're not even breathing at all. And you're clearing this through your vagus nerve. And as you're doing that, I'm going to speak a forgiveness prayer over you. So now going back into that sensation, you're doing amazing. That sensation of like the sandbag on your chest. And it was a 3, and then you were raising the intensity of the sensation. Checking back in, what level of intensity is that?
Feels lower, like a
Feels lower?
1 or not at all.
Does it feel like it's like releasing and dissipating? It just needs a little bit more time to integrate?
almost just like oddly enough, it feels like there's just like this little chunk right here. And then all the rest of this is like totally cleared.
Yeah. Do you feel like you need to go into that little chunk?
It's like I want to go into that chunk later.
Okay, absolutely. So
It's
now, oh, go ahead.
it just needs permission to be there. And
Do you have any issues with your elbows?
mm-mm.
No? Okay, your elbow came up, and I think it's your left elbow. Um,
Mm.
so later when you look into that, when you tap into that space, I want you to just examine your both of your elbows, because sometimes when I see it, it's like it's mirrored. So just
Mm-hmm.
check in with your elbows and see if there's anything there.
Okay.
Oh. So no, now going back to like this communication in your business and communicating to your long-lasting clients, that you are growing, you're expanding, you want to offer more in a different way. Um, and the fear of like losing them, like how does that feel now when you think about all of that?
It still feels undesirable, right? Because the desire of my heart is like, let's grow together into this new stage. Um, and I also just feel this trust that what's right for me and what like is pulling me towards it is also what's right. And I need to trust that. It's funny to use the word need.
Mm,
Um, that just like reminding myself that I can trust in this change. Um,
yeah.
and it makes me curious, like maybe part of the medicine that I can offer as I communicate the change is just like that loving presence of like I'm still here, um, I'm still supporting, and it's going to take on a new form.
And what about later when you want to look back into this space, flipping the role and hearing like yourself, like receiving that information from the coach, like you know what I mean, like reversing the roles and hearing yourself and receiving that information that you're growing and expanding and why you're doing this, all of that stuff, and like how it would feel to receive that, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to try to connect how your clients are going to feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is that these energies that are coming up right now are all about like moving past this, like growth, so much growth. And so it's interesting that you're feeling this too. And growth is like it's not comfortable, right? Like you have to take that leap and trust and and know that like what's on the other side for you is exactly what you need. And how do you feel about that, about it being uncomfortable?
That just feels like a truth, like we can't grow without risk. We can't expand without an inherent vulnerability. And so that just feels like such a truth that we're all held by,
Yeah.
myself included.
And I also feel that like you know what it's like to feel stretched, right? Not just in
Mhm.
yoga. Just really fun. Um, but you know what it's like to be stretched. And so like you're giving that to your clients too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To feel stretched, like you're giving that expansion. And that's like a hard part of being a coach sometimes, is like being I don't want to use the word tough because that doesn't make sense in this case, but like you are asking them to take it a little bit further, to stretch a little bit more. And that is for their growth too.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and I keep thinking about that shirt analogy that you had,
Mhm.
and giving that to yourself, like, that new shirt that fits.
Mhm. Yeah.
So how are you feeling about communicating, like going out into the world as a family with everything that's going on? Are you still feeling the same, or does it feel a little different?
It feels, I think part of what's coming through for me as we revisit that is the idea that I just need to be in my truth as I move through that. I have permission to talk about it or not talk about it. And I have the autonomy and agency to just, like, even if I can witness that they're uncomfortable and they want answers, I don't have to give them.
Yeah. So there are a couple things. I'm doing a lot more coaching than I normally I'm like, what's in your body? What's coming up for you? But I just feel so compelled to share some things with you. So I hope that's okay.
What is it that you feel
Well,
so called to share?
the first thing is that there's the book Unbound. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah, it's in my nightstand.
Yeah, but how she talks about like taking that taking that like your intentions like outward, and asking questions when people bring up things. And something that I learned a while ago that has been so profound for me, and I hope this helps you, is that people, they want to connect. Like they genuinely just they want to connect. And it just shows like through history and all of the things that people have gone through, like trauma, like these things that like these negative things, like we call them negative things. That's how people seem to connect or relate the best. And so even as a mom, like when you're out and about and people are like, oh, you've got your hands full, and you're like, actually, I don't, I love this. And like, yeah, my arms are full of love, like like it's frustrating what people say, but if you just remember that they just want to connect and they come from like good intentions typically, that they don't know how to go about it, or they have like these beliefs or this like way of doing things and they are not aware of it like you are.
Right.
And so that I think is really helpful, just to know that people want to connect.
Yeah, it is. That's like the beautiful underbelly of the questioning and the wanting to know, is that truthfully people care, or they wouldn't be asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Well,
Thank you for that.
how are you feeling overall?
I feel lighter, and I feel like I have some places to like continue to explore, which will be good. And then I do feel just like this release through here, which feels really nice, to have more spaciousness in my body.
Good.
Hmm.
Well, I'm so excited for you to see where you go with your business. And I can't see your clients not continuing to work with you, just for that short experience that I had. Like it was really beautiful, and the way that you take everything. I've noticed like when I have done yoga in the past that things are so quick, and I don't fully understand what I'm doing. And I love how you explain things and like the breath, and you're doing this with the while you're breathing. And um, there's just so much more connection to it. And I think that is the purpose of yoga, right? And I really feel that you bring that in, and that's why your clients work with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like the most common form of yoga now is glorified exercise. And that's fine, like, whatever floats your boat. But like, ooh, are you missing out on all the like juicy goodness of all those other layers that get to come in when we take our time, when we weave in those deeper spiritual aspects, for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for
And
seeing me in that.
yeah, like I'm sure your clients have taken yoga classes out, like, at different programs at different places, and they know they can feel the difference. Like they know what a gem you are. And so um I hope
Yeah,
you see that for yourself too. Yeah.
I do. I trust, and it's still like stretchy and edgy to be like, hey, I'm gonna charge more now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, mm. And thank you for your willingness to share such like a range of experiences from, the light and the shadow, and weaving it together, and that like interplay of bringing those into a space where they're communicating feels so powerful. And it also feels like challenging because we tend to try to avoid the shadow self. And you had this very soft way of inviting them to dance together. And I think that's so healing for people. And I'm sure many people are finding benefit from that when you share those kinds of things.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I started learning about that and integrating that. And so that's a new practice. And then going in and like clearing it is such a quick thing that I've learned. But it feels really good to connect the two. So I'm still figuring out how to integrate these different modalities. So thanks for letting me practice on you. You're my guinea pig.
Yeah, I'm happy to explore it.
Oh. Well, I'm so excited to connect with you later and see how you're doing after like allowing things to integrate. And I definitely want to follow up with you and let you know how I'm feeling and like connecting the two aspects of my body.
I look forward to hearing that as well.
So thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you. Good to be with you in this way.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone that's watching and yeah, like and subscribe and comment. Thank you.
Mm.
Bye.
Bye.